Howdy, Immortallium here, and welcome to my birthday manga haul. It's my birthday very soon, so as usual I decided to spoil the crap out of myself with manga. Plus I was running out of manga a bit, so, you know, I decided to stock up. So anyway, let's get right down to it. So, first up, we have the next arc of Higurashi. Recently, Higurashi, I think they've released everything now of the manga in English. So all 38 volumes, although I think it might be down to 28 volumes, are now released in English. So, you know, what better time to try to catch up. I've loved this series so far. I've read the first 3 arcs, which are from the original game. I think this is the last of the arcs from the first game. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm having a great time with it. And next up, of course, I have the next 3 volumes of Attack on Titan. I've decided to wait a little while before I got more of it, just because rather than reading it like 1 volume at a time, I just prefer to, you know, get a couple of volumes and be able to read them. It feels much more substantial and much more kind of satisfactory. So, you know, I prefer to do that. After that, we have the next 2 omnibuses of Lone Wolf and Cub. I'm enjoying the series a lot now. I've read the first 2 omnibuses, and I remember when I first began it, I was a bit thrown off by the fact that it wasn't so much a continuous, like, serial story, and more like a episodic serial. So, like, each story was basically one kind of adventure, and then he goes on to the next adventure, and we're getting like snippets of his past and everything. So I was a bit thrown off by that at the beginning, but now that I'm used to the style, I'm really enjoying the series, and I'm looking forward to getting more omnibuses. After that, we come to no longer, you know, the continuing series. This now is all brand new stuff that I've either completed or started. So let's start off with Cross Game, which, if I'm correct, might be the first sports manga that I've gotten. I can't remember any sports manga that I've gotten previously. Cross Game's about baseball. I've heard amazing things about this series. Like, I've heard it is utterly brilliant, you know, from a dramatic standpoint, from a character standpoint, from an artistic standpoint. And Mitsuru Adachi, he's like, you know, one of the big people in, you know, Shonen Sunday, along with Rumiko Takahashi. So, of course, I wanted to get something from him. Now, these Viz editions, this is like 3 volumes in one, and then I think every other volume is like 2 volumes. So that's 8 volumes overall, I think. 7, 14, and so it's, I think, about 17 volumes in total. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I decided, you know, get the first omnibus, why not, and see what I think of it. You know, I have great expectations for the series. After that, as I've been enjoying some Josei manga very much recently, I've had to get some manga from the architect, really. Some people call her the architect of the genre. And that is Pink and Helter Skelter. Now, I've heard that Pink is actually better than Helter Skelter from several sources. So, you know, I find that quite interesting. Pink was done, I think, in about 1990, whereas Helter Skelter, I think, might have been about 2002. So, you know, I'm a bit surprised that the older one is considered superior, not only from like a story standpoint, but even from an artistic standpoint. But I do know Helter Skelter was adapted into a really popular Japanese film, which I don't think has been licensed over in the UK or Ireland, at least. It might be out in America, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I'm looking forward to reading these 2 and seeing what my opinions are. Plus, they're vertical, so, you know, you can't go wrong with vertical. Although, if I'm correct, and if any of you have like a link to the article or to the tweet or to whatever that Vertical announced this, I'd be very interested. I just heard recently that Vertical are now like less interested in doing older classic manga, and more, they're going to be trying to focus more on more recent manga, which I find quite disappointing, because, you know, I love the fact that they actually, you know, released all these classic manga series that we never got from any other publishers. So if that's true, and it seems to be true, I'm very disappointed at that. So if any of you have the article of that, or if any of you have, like, you know, where they announced it and why, you know, I'd much appreciate that. Anyway, speaking of older classic manga, It wouldn't be a manga haul from Immortallium without an Osamu Tezuka work. And this Osamu Tezuka work is particularly special because now this is the oldest manga I own. The Mysterious Underground Men. From a 10-cent manga line, which was done by Picture Box. Picture Box are now out of business. And this looks like a very impressive, release. It's printed on brown paper. The artwork is very, very different from standard manga artwork these days. For one, it's in color. But like the coloring is very crude. There's a lot of sections where, like the red might be like the correct shape, but it's ever so slightly off the character's head or something. So it has a very crude look to it. But it's still a great looking series. I'm, very eager to read this and to review it, because the thing is, from what I've seen online, most people, they just talk about the historical significance of this. The fact it was printed in 1948, and that it was an actual story manga, it incorporated tragedy, etc., etc. But not too many people talk about whether or not it still holds up, or is it still enjoyable, or is it only from a historical perspective that you should get this. So I'm eager to look at that. Not only that, but you get some nice essays at the back as well. So I'll be looking forward to that. Afterwards, another classic manga, this time from the 1990s. Until recently, I wasn't even aware that this was available in English. Of course, I've heard of the TV series very much. The TV series, I think it used to air on Jetix, which was a channel that aired in the UK and Ireland. But it was this highly censored version, of course. But now I know that getting among the highest ratings of all anime in Japan, and I think they released, was it like their 30th movie recently? It couldn't be their 30th movie, surely not. I don't know. They've released a lot of movies anyway. And that is Crayon Shin-chan. Now, this is from a publisher that I hadn't heard of, One Piece Books. Not One Piece as in, like One Piece the manga. One Piece as in like, peace, as in like being peaceful. But I've looked them up. They're going to be releasing some other, manga series. It's not just Crayon Shin-chan. So they're actually quite interesting looking, and I'm eager to get more of their works. The only thing I want to point out about these releases, there's 4 Crayon Shin-chans in total that they've released. I think each one's like a 2-in-1. And I only bought the first 2 just to see, what I think of this series. But the weird thing is that the paper quality is actually different from, 1 to 2. In the first release, it's very white. It's also decently thick. The next release is even whiter, but the pages are much thinner, which means there's more page bleeding. So I'm not sure what happened there. Overall, I would argue that the paper quality in the first one is actually superior to the paper quality in number 2. I don't know why, but I just thought I should point that out. I'll be eager to get more of it if I enjoy it, though. Crayon Shin-chan's a classic, and actually, I was quite surprised to find out that it's actually a seinen. It was published in Weekly Manga Action, which is the same manga magazine that released Lone Wolf and Cub. Can you imagine? So, I found that quite fascinating. Next release that I bought was the 2 omnibuses of Ranma Half. And I want to say the 2 omnibuses, I mean the 2 that have been released so far. Ranma Half, I've heard so many good things about, and it is such a important manga that quite often when a country begins, translating manga, this will be like among the first that they start translating. Back when Brazil started publishing manga, and when America started publishing manga, Ranma Half was like the first 2, among the first series translated. But considering, it was like only a couple of years old at that point, I guess it wasn't too, surprising. But Russia recently actually started translating manga. I think about 2005, 2006 or something like that. I think the first series they chose was actually Ranma Half, even though this series was published back in the 80s. So, I find that quite fascinating how, each country seems to decide, okay, we're going to start, translating manga. Let's start with Ranma Half. That's when I've heard, great things. It's kind of an action comedy series. And, I've heard incredibly good things about this. Plus, I need to get more from Rumiko Takahashi. Rumiko Takahashi, she's what at one point she was the most paid mangaka in all of Japan, which and by itself is actually extremely impressive. And she's also created lots of other series, highly influential series, Inuyasha, Rusu something, I can't remember, Meisan Ikoko. So, she's released all these series and they've all been like really influential, so I've decided I wanted to get more from her. Speaking of Rumiko Takahashi, and my first complete Rumiko Takahashi series, I've gotten all of the volumes of One Pound Gospel. Now, if you don't know what One Pound Gospel is, it's about a boxer, as you can see from the cover, and I think he has a gluttony issue, and he's working with a nun to kind of work off that issue. I noticed that on each manga cover he seems to be eating something, so yeah, I remember the gluttony thing. There are several reasons I was attracted to this series. One is that it's only 4 volumes long, and for Rumiko Takahashi that's actually pretty good. I know that some other series that she's done have been shorter. I think Mermaid Saga is actually shorter at, I think, 3 volumes. But I can't get Mermaid Saga, whereas I can get One Pound Gospel. It's a seinen work from her, which is interesting because she usually does just shonen works, like Ranma Half, Inuyasha, etc, etc. So I'm quite eager to read this. And the other thing that I also found quite fascinating was how long this took. If I'm correct, I think the first 2 volumes were published back in the 1980s, but like the last 2 volumes, there's like a hiatus, and then the last 2 volumes were published in like, the early noughties. So, if for you Hunter x Hunter fans, of which I'm included, are out there complaining about how long, Yoshihiro Togashi is taking with Hunter x Hunter, be thankful that you weren't a One Pound Gospel fan having to wait that long in order to complete the series. So, I'm looking forward to that. The other seinen work I got as well was Blue Spring, which is from the dude who did Tekken Kincrete, I think. Which, he blends French artwork and, Japanese artwork kind of together. So to create a very different looking series. Very, I would argue, European. I showed this to a couple of people and, they were like, it's European artwork, comics kind of thing. So I've heard very good things about this. The one thing I want to point out about all these, they're all seinen, they're all from Viz, but they're this normal manga size, which will be so annoying because I organized my manga, by various categories, and one of them is, demographic, who's it aimed at. So I'm going to be putting these, when I read them, alongside my normal Viz seinen manga, which is mostly signature, and now, it's a completely different size, so I'm disappointed at that because it'll look a bit odd on the shelf. It'll be going from big size to small size to big size. I don't know, I just found that kind of annoying. Before I get to the biggest part of this manga haul, I just want to show you some novels I got. Some light novels to be more specific, although one of them is big enough to be classed as a novel. First one I'm going to show is I got the second Vampire Hunter D. For any of you who aren't aware, I've already read the first Vampire Hunter D book. That was adapted into the first Vampire Hunter D film that was released back, I think, the 1980s, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that when I actually saw the film itself, I was quite disappointed in it because of all the pieces it skipped in the book. The book's about 300 pages, and I think the film is only like 80 minutes, so, of course they're going to have to like skim through a lot of it, but, having read the book first and then seen the film, I was quite underwhelmed, so what can you do? Anyway, I don't know why it took so long, because I think Dark Horse have already released like 20 volumes of, Vampire Hunter D the novels in English. So I just got around to getting this now. And that particularly because I really want to push more light novels now, because I love light novels. I've completed My Girlfriend's a Geek, and I'm up to date with Haruhi Suzumiya. And now, Yen Press are going to be pushing more light novels, which is great. And I love like the light novel medium, and like I think it's a great disappointment that so many Western otaku fans are just, not receptive of the medium. That they're just, oh, it's an actual novel, so, I don't want to read it. I find that quite disappointing. So anyway, Vampire Hunter D, the second one, which I think the first film adapted the first novel, but the second film adapted the third novel. So this has not been adapted into anything. Well, I think it's been adapted into manga, of course, but it's not been adapted into any like anime. So this is pretty much a novel-only experience. So I'll be looking forward to that. I also got the first Sword Art Online book. Sword Art Online. Okay, how can I put this? I remember when it was airing, like about the time it was airing, everyone was going mental for it. And I was kind of thinking to myself, oh, this must be a pretty good series. And in my anime society, I was shown the first 5 episodes, and I was very underwhelmed. I was thinking, this is a very by-the-books, kind of adventure series. So, I wasn't overly impressed with it at all. So, why the hell would I buy this if I didn't really enjoy the TV series that much? Because I've been told that the novel, or the novels, are way better. So, I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'll give the first book a go, and if I enjoy it, I'll keep going. If I don't enjoy it, I'll stop. That's what I'll think. The one thing I want to point out, though, which I was kind of surprised at, is I did a video on Yen-On, which is, the new imprint that Yen Press are doing to promote light novels, and I was under the impression that they were going to implement it, into the October releases of the light novels. But this actually has Yen-On at the bottom, if you can see. So I just thought that was quite interesting. It's already been implemented, and from what I've seen online, the first novel of Excel World will also have that. Which kind of makes me wonder now, when I buy Spice and Wolf, should I wait a while, to see if they actually, put Yen-On onto it? Because I can imagine the most annoying thing would be buying a whole bunch of Spice and Wolf, and then all of a sudden having it change into Yen-On, and possibly, changing back to Yen Press before going back to Yen-On, so I don't know. I know definitely I'd say that whenever the next Harui novel is released, it's going to have Yen-On in it, and it's going to look different to the previous Harui novel, so that's disappointing, but what can you do? And finally, finally, concerning light novels, the big purchase is still upcoming, but this series, Marlock Scramble, it's actually 3 light novels, but Viz Media, when they released it, put it all into one book, so it's actually quite a beast of a book. 3 light novels, basically. And I've been wanting to see the films for a long time now. I've heard very good things about the first one. I've heard good things about the second one. A lot of people are kind of underwhelmed by the whole blackjack playing in the second film, apparently. And the third film is apparently a good conclusion, but it still fails to live up to the first one, so the first film apparently is the best one. But anyway, I really wanted to get those, but the problem that I faced is that they are pretty much bare bones when they're released. Just a director's cut, which adds a couple of minutes, a couple of, like trailers, etc., etc., and that's it. No other extras. And they're short films as well. I think they're about like 60 minutes long only. So I haven't really seen the reason to buy it, because, I think I'm not going to get the value. Considering that they've just finished off releasing the third one recently, I'm hoping that Manga Entertainment, who distribute the films, well, Kaze as well, I guess, who distribute the films in the UK and Ireland, I'm hoping they make some kind of trilogy box set, where I can get the whole lot for, like, a discounted price. So I don't know. But anyway, while I was thinking to myself, oh, it's too pricey to get the films, I was thinking, why not get the book? Because I've heard that a lot of people consider the book to be superior to the manga and to the films, so why not read it? The only thing is, again, it'll be a big commitment whenever I get around to it. But I don't know. It looks fascinating anyway, and I love my sci-fi, so I'm looking forward to it. And finally, the biggest purchase that I made, some of you might already know of this, considering that it's in the thumbnail. I decided to finally get the complete series of this. I saw the live-action film of this series recently, and I was very impressed with it. Some issues there, but I think a lot of those issues had to do with trying to compress an entire story arc from the manga into a 2.5, well, a little less than 2.5 hour film. So I think that the manga will probably be better. Even so, I did enjoy the film, and I'm looking forward to its upcoming sequels. What series am I talking about? I'm talking about Rurouni Kenshin. I've gotten all of the Vizbigs. So this Vizbig, this one, 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 and finally this one, which is actually quite a beast of a book, because unlike the others, which are 3-in-1s, this is actually a 4-in-1. I've looked at this, the quality is very good. What I'm more excited about with the Rurouni Kenshin Vizbigs compared to the Hot Gimmick Vizbigs that I already have is that the only pages in Hot Gimmick that were actually coloured were, you know, title pages, where, you know, like, you saw the characters there in all their poses and all that, and it's in colour and it's nice, you know, but none of the actual manga itself was in colour. Whereas, like, Volume 1 opens up with a beautiful looking several colour pages. If I can show you an example. So I'm just, you know, absolutely excited for this. I've heard it's a brilliant series. I hope I'm not hyping it up for myself. I'm sure I'll enjoy it anyway. I'm really looking forward to this series. Plus, once I've completed it, it'll be the longest manga that I actually have that's completed. I was looking at my MAL the other day. And while the biggest series that I have right now is actually Naruto with 33 volumes, the biggest completed series I have is Full Metal Alchemist at 27. This series is 28, so you know, it'll be nice to have an even bigger completed series. But besides the point, I've heard brilliant things about this, and you know, I enjoyed the film, so I'm sure I'll love the series. And that is my birthday manga haul. Well, I guess a little bit of it were light novels, but I kind of count the light novels as manga. A lot of people do. So, you know, I'm really happy with what I've gotten. The only thing, I forgot to actually order the most recent Blue Exorcist. That's my biggest kind of regret. But what can you do? I forgot about it. And also I noticed that I have Josei volumes here, I have Seinen volumes, I have Shonen volumes. I have no Shoujo volumes, I don't think. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I have a lot of shoujo anyway, so I'm quite content with that, but, you know, it's not the perfect manga haul, I guess you can call it, but it's a birthday manga haul, and I'm very happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, I hope you found it informative, I hope you found it entertaining, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye. Viz manga.